Good morning or good afternoon or good night, everybody joining. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate that. My name is Ove Tenberg, representing Roima Intelligence today. I'm going to present ways to enhance the Epicor ERP for discrete manufacturing. We will talk about and also demonstrate some of the Roima solutions. But first of all, I would like to thank the Epicor Midwest User Group for inviting us to this webinar, and of course also Codabears for hosting the event. And Codabears has been a very good partner to us for many years, invaluable in providing Epicor knowledge and services. So the plan for this session is to talk about trends that drives new requirements, basically, in the way you run your operations internally, but also the external operations with the interaction with customers and partners like dealers or distributors. And not to forget how your internal team handle their daily tasks inside Epicor. And the goal today is to highlight where these new requirements may disclose gaps in your current Epicor system and maybe other applications that you're running as well. And we will also take a look at possible ways to enhance your Epicor system and close those gaps and add functionality that are in areas where you may have challenges today. So we will look into a lot of different examples of suggested improvements and how to solve them. I will start with some background and talk about possible areas for improvement. I will also do an example halfway into this presentation. It's about 1 hour long. So many of you may not know what Roima is, have never heard about Roima. On the other hand, many of you are current customers to PartTrap today. PartTrap One, which is an e-commerce platform for Epicor ERP. And I've met many of you in different customer meetings and events. Some of you are customers, as I mentioned, and some may become customers. And the new thing now, you may know that we've been in the market for 15 years working with Epicor ERP. So we started with the Vantage, going to E9 and then E10 and now Kinetic. So we have covered all versions from then and up till today. PartTrap as a company has now joined a larger organization based in the Nordics called Roima. And Roima is laser focusing actually on creating a leading software house for software for manufacturing companies, supporting what we call the digital thread, the product digital thread, everything from the birth of a product, the design of a product until end of life of that product, and all the steps in between, including warehouse management, purchasing optimization, MES, MOM, online sales, services, and all you can think of during the lifetime of a product. Our focus is best of breed solutions, in contrast to Epicor, which is an end-to-end solution. Best of breed means that we are collecting, and that's actually the strategy for Roima, to handpick the best-in-class software solutions for manufacturers globally, and then make these different applications work in harmony and also integrate seamlessly to different selected ERP systems. And Epicor ERP is one of those selected ERP systems, maybe because we've been working already 15 years with Epicor and we know a lot about Epicor. We have a lot of Epicor customers and we have a lot of good partners within the Epicor world. So that's a good reason. So everything we do, all we do actually is to focus on software for manufacturers. And we don't develop one big package. We focus on individual, what we call spearhead products. And you can see some of them in the lower left corner here. PartTrap One is well known in the Epicor world, but we now also have MES, MOM. We have integrated business planning with purchase optimization. We have FeedAware with WMS functionality. We have Aton with product lifecycle management, and we have a lot of functionality within those different spearhead products. And the good news for you as Epicor customers is that all these products are integrated to Epicor, which means that we could actually close the gaps that you may experience in your current Epicor system and gaps that may appear later on when the new requirements are coming in. So this is what I'm going to talk about today, how we can support you with your current ERP, Epicor Epicor ERP installation and provide solutions to close those gaps and improve your overall performance, your operations, and your customer service, and also ways to improve the user interface for your internal users. We will talk about discrete manufacturing today. We also support process industries, process manufacturing, and logistics and retail, but it's mainly focusing on discrete manufacturing today. So if we look at where we operate, we have worked closely with Coda Bears in the Midwest for many years, and we have shared customers within many different industries. If Roima are experts on looking at Epicor from outside and in, then Coda Bears are the experts on looking at Epicor from the inside and out. And that combination is actually a good symbiosis, and that has led to successful cooperation and really good solutions that we have implemented for many Epicor customers. And now when we expand more in North America, it's natural for us to be present or established in Chicago, and therefore we can interact more frequently with our customer base and also new potential customers. And even if these events with online webinars are really nice as well, it's a different thing to be present and alive, so to speak. Today's presentation focuses on ways to enhance your Epicor ERP, as I said, and best of breed functionality. You know, there's always been a conflict between end-to-end solutions and best of breed, when best of breed has been known to be very expensive, mainly because of the integration cost over time. If you bring in a new sort of isolated feature into your system, it needs to be integrated, and it needs to be kept integrated over time when the different versions are changing. So the concept for Roima is to offer you the best of breed functionality and components, but we are already integrated to Epicor, and we will continue to be integrated to Epicor. And also the Roima products are internally harmonized and integrated in that way. So that gives you the possibility to pick and choose, so to speak, between what you need depending on your industry, challenges, your gaps, whatever you feel is not sufficient in your current installation. So this is the main topic for today. First, we can start with a high-level view of this challenge. What is happening out there, and well, we all know it's tough out there. Customers and partners of yours, they demand accurate information, and they demand it instantly. But even employees demand a better user interface and user-friendly and fast systems to work in. And I mean, the young generation coming in now, they don't accept the old type of ERP interface where you need to dig into maybe 10 levels of pages before you find the data you're looking for. They look for something completely different. So you are competing not only with your product, you're actually competing with your internal ERP solution when you try to recruit new resources to your company. And if we look at the slide here, I mean, reaching digital excellence, build resilience and responsiveness, and also to align technology with your business needs. They're very high-level goals. And we can all agree that they all make sense. You're all competing, so you need to be on your toes and improving your performance and your delivery every day. Your competitors are doing that. So you actually have to keep up and utilize the technology. And Roima may not invent new technology, but we are really good at utilizing the technology to give you the best possible solution and help you to improve your capacity and your accurate data accuracy and also your relation to your customers. I think we can go in and take a look at the high-level trends and gaps. What we have done is that we have looked into the general trends in discrete manufacturing. We have looked at Epicor, looked at maybe weaknesses or gaps, depending on who you are. I mean, the perception of gaps is, of course, personal and linked to your industry, your company, and the role you may have in your company. But you will see over time that you will discover new gaps, so to speak, that you have to fill to be on top. So if we look at the high-level topics that we've found when we mix or merge the trends with the gaps and also what Roima could help you with or provide in terms of functionality. We end up with this list of high-level topics, and we will go into more details later on, listing specific functionality that you may be interested in discovering. One very big topic is making sure that you have intuitive interfaces with single screen data access. That is something that everyone is complaining. That hasn't changed the last 20 years in ERP systems. It's still the same drilling down through layers of pages to find what you're looking for. Today's users, and I'm talking about the younger generation, they actually demand to have everything at the fingertips and access quickly to updated, relevant information. So that's a big topic. Forecasting and inventory optimization. This is maybe the area that has the biggest impact on the bottom line. And we will spend some time on talking about possible optimizations there. Product data and streamlined product data is actually something where Roima shines. We support something we call the product digital thread. I mentioned it earlier. It's a way to make sure that you have unified, updated, relevant product data normalized throughout the entire thread from the birth of a product until the end of life. And that product will go through design phase, manufacturing, purchase, warehouse, stock management. It will go through the sales and delivery phases. It will go through aftermarket and service phases. So all of these phases require the same accuracy in the data, and Roima can help you and Epicor to make that easier. Scheduling and quality control, simplification of that is of course related to manufacturing and production, and Roima is really good at providing the information easily accessible on one screen and also avoiding bottlenecks in the production. So that is something we will talk about also. When it comes to warehouse management, of course, a lot of things are happening within warehouse management. New equipment, automated picking and packing. You need to have a scalable solution in order to support your growth, because I guess you all want to grow. So we will look into that a little bit. We will also look into self-service and collaboration portals, because most of the time we talk about internal processes. We need to keep the data under control within the company and within the processes. But as important is what you do with your customers and dealers and distributors and other partners. I mean, we always say that you need to move the data, the information, the knowledge, the tools closer to your customers, because that's where the purchase decisions are taken. So the more information needed for a purchasing decision, the more of that type of information you can move closer to the customer, and the tools to actually act on it will improve your top line. That will create increased revenue for you, no doubt. And the more information your customers have when they select spare parts, for example, or when they configure a product, the more information they have, the less errors occur. So that is good for everybody. So we will actually demonstrate a self-service and collaboration portal later on in this session. And again, the classic topic, best of breed versus end-to-end. And I should claim that you all selected end-to-end. You're running Epicor, which is an end-to-end solution containing everything you need basically for your operations. But maybe all of the modules are not optimal for your business. And you may want to look into best of breed solutions for individual features or groups of features. And this is exactly what we provide. Roima will give you the best of breed functionality already integrated to Epicor and seamlessly working together with Epicor and within the different applications from Roima. Also, those applications are working in harmony, integrated to Epicor. So now I'm going to start to list a couple of I'm going to do this quick because you have already received the material in PDF format, so you can read this through later on if you like as well. But maybe you can listen if there is something that triggers you, that you feel, yes, this is something we have problems with internally, and this is something we need to improve. We are looking for other solutions to cover for this functionality gap. I think if you find some of these examples interesting, you can get in contact with us afterwards, of course, and let's go into a discussion on how we can help you. So let's start with forecasting and inventory optimization. One gap that is quite obvious is the forecasting capabilities of Epicor, where you may end up with a 4 to 5 week range, while you may want to have like 6 to 12 months, maybe a longer horizon to plan and forecast. So this is an area where Roima could provide a better solution. And of course, that enables proactive decision making and reducing the risk of stockouts or excess inventory. So it's clearly a useful functionality. Optimize inventory balancing. I mean, that's the balance between safety stock and the cost of keeping that safety stock. And of course, if we have a solution for that, that strikes the right balance between working capital and inventory availability, and it will reduce cost for you. That's going to be a money saver, and we all want to save money. In the automate sales and operation planning, I think you are all trying to eliminate bottlenecks, and this is a way to do that. Take away the manual planning and ensure that you have the resources ready to operate. So I think this is an important topic as well. Then we have scenario planning, and I think a way to be able to run what if scenarios is very important to take the right decisions for purchasing, for example. So this is something that we can offer and made a great benefit for the organization. Another one, long-term agreement management. You may know that you have, maybe you keep safety stock based on an agreement that you signed many years ago for a customer, and suddenly that long-term agreement expires and you're still keeping that safety stock for no reason. So this type of management and keeping track of important details that are costly, that's also something that we could help you with. Okay, let's move into the next group of features. Streamlining product data, and that is, as I mentioned, that's maybe the key delivery from Roima. Product data is what we focus a lot on. And let's say that you are not satisfied with the master data management in Epicor. Maybe you have acquired or purchased PLM system, product lifecycle management, or maybe you haven't, but you would like to. Roima could provide that extra level of functionality and integrate that seamlessly to Epicor and be item master solution. And of course, if you have a single source of truth for all the product data, and you make sure that you keep track of updates and changes, and maybe you have approval flow when you do changes and notifications, so everyone knows that there has been a change in that part master. That are very important features. And when it comes to documents and traceability and so forth, this type of system keeps track of that as well. So you have a full control basically over all the product data and product related data, such as CAD information and so on. And we will see in the demo later on that CAD data that you store for example, custom products or engineered to order products can be accessed from our portals when they're kept in this type of repository with tracking of revision changes, for example. And also, I talked about approval flows earlier. Configurable workflows for that is also very important to get in place. So you have full control and security when it comes to changes. And again, I mentioned that on every slide almost, all in one screen. Try to get everything easily accessible. Control live refreshed data on one screen where you need it. You don't need to dig into other screens to find that type of data. So user interface, not only for quicker access, but also for sort of attracting new recruitments because they are demanding that type of interface. Okay, I continue with scheduling and quality control. If we look into production and manufacturing, there are so many different areas that could be improved. We mentioned bottlenecks earlier. Those are extremely costly and you always try to get rid of them. We have a number of sort of suggested functionality improvements that we could offer. And this is something that we could look into in a separate call. Self-service portals. I mentioned earlier that we, especially within manufacturing, we focus a lot on what's happening internally in the organization and in the production. At the same time, your customers and your dealers, your other partners, they are also interested in updated business data and product data. So if you can provide that data in a readable format on a website, easily accessed, then your customer base and your sales channels will be extremely happy. And maybe e-commerce is not the first thing a manufacturer thinks about, specifically if you're an engineer to order or if you sell configurable products, then you think this is too complicated to sell online. But today the technology has come very far, and CPQ, configure price quote solutions, are readily available. They need to be updated, but they can actually do the sales job for you and eliminate all these restrictions and bottlenecks, like that specific engineer who you need to talk to before you can approve a configuration. If you can embed that competence, that knowledge into a software solution instead, then you will improve your capacity enormously. You will be able to respond to quotes much quicker than before, and that may be critical to get the order. We've heard so many times about companies trying to create a quote. It takes a week, and when they're ready, they get back to the prospect, and the prospect says, sorry, I just bought from another vendor because they could give me a quote within 1 hour. So that other competitor probably had a good CPQ solution, or the data in place and the knowledge stored in an application rather than in the head of somebody. The self-service portal, what you think of immediately is of course a B2B e-commerce platform, for example, but there are so many different ways of utilizing portals. I'm going to demonstrate later on something we call the equipment portal, where let's say that you are a manufacturer of equipment or advanced machines, and you deliver those machines. They require service, they require maintenance, support, services. So together with that delivery of products or machines, if you can also deliver a support portal or equipment portal that supports everything your customer needs to run that machine without any issues. I will demonstrate that in a few minutes. Also, when we talk about portals, real-time data is extremely important. Let's say that you set out a portal for your customers, and we have seen many of those portals where you sort of expose product information, documents, and so on. But it's often the case that they are not integrated to Epicor, and the end customer, the user of that portal, will immediately realize that this information is not up to date. So they will still call the customer service, and you don't get anything out of that portal. But if you have real-time information in the portal, and that's where we come in with integration to Epicor. If you have real-time information, your customers, the users of the portal, will realize that it's quicker to go into the portal, get what I need, instead of calling customer service, because they realize that customer service is looking at exactly the same information, and customers prefer to find that information themselves if it's readily available. Okay, and then we have warehouse management also as a high level topic. There are so much you can do with warehouse management, but it's also important that you have a scalable solution. You grew as a company, you need to have a solution that is scalable. You need to have modern integrations to different types of warehouse automation systems. You need a solution that is updated and can give you the best possible optimization of how you handle your warehouse. For example, if you have large warehouses, or you may have a warehouse outdoors, you need maybe GPS tracking for yard management. Things like that are what we can provide from Roima as plugins, basically, to Epicor. And again, at the last point here, a modern interface with all-in-one dashboard where you can access the information easily, quickly, and it's updated. Okay, so if we now summarize this, we have listed a large number of improvement areas, and we can group those into applications delivered by Roima. These are best of breed applications, but they are already integrated to Epicor, and they're actually modular, which means that you don't need to buy one big solution and implement all of it. You can take individual features of those applications because they are in many cases isolated modules with no dependencies in between. So that makes it easy, and that's how Roima has planned this concept, bringing in the best of breed solutions, make them modular, make them integrated directly to selected ERP systems, and harmonize all these applications so they share the same data. So that's the concept that we think could improve your business. Okay, I will now move into a quick demonstration, and it's an example of an integration flow between some of the Roima products. 8-ton PLM, product lifecycle management. That's the application that connects to CAD systems. It can store CAD files, keep track of them, all the metadata you need on top of that, keep track of revisions, also act as the master data repository for all your items. So let's say you develop a new product. 8-ton will itemize that product and create the parts in Epicor along with all the related information. But 8-ton will sort of stay the master application for the product data. But then that data will flow through the entire system, through the entire digital thread, and be used by all the applications. And this demo would show data produced in 8-ton, data coming from Epicor, mixed, merged into the application, and then from that live data or real-time data, you will be able to act with placing orders, for example, or requesting service, or maybe registering a warranty claim. So I'll switch over to that application. So this is something we call the Portrap Equipment Portal. And imagine now that I'm working in this portal now, and I am a customer of yours. You manufacture equipment like the ones you see on the screen. I have bought those machines from you, and I'm now the customer, and I need to access information about the equipment because I need maybe a spare part, maybe I need to order service, maybe I need information about the stock availability of spare parts in your warehouse. So the first thing you meet is a dashboard, and this is also always customized. Since this is based on a CMS system, it can be branded to every customer if you want that. So you can create a branded equipment portal together with your sort of delivery of machines. You can support that with this portal. There will be account details, customer information. You may have typical carts that they normally buy, maybe 3 months maintenance kit, something like that. They may want to look at orders that they placed earlier. Maybe they want to reorder something. You have availability directly into your Epicor system, and you can bring up all the details about that order. Same thing with invoices. You can open up the invoice information, you can download invoices, and so on. And they can also track shipments, orders in transit. So everything that you store inside your Epicor system and that is relevant for your customer could be presented in this portal. And a lot of data that you keep internally could actually be used for your end customers. And not only for your end customers, this could also be a portal for your dealers when they need to collaborate with you. Maybe they have an end customer, the end customer is calling them, they want information about the warranty, they want to place a claim, or they want to reorder something. Then the dealer could be the user of this system, supporting their end customers. And it could also be branded as the dealer site or the dealer brand. so that they could actually sit together with the end customer and review the information and work in the system. I'm trying to describe here all the different types of data that we can present in this type of portal. So going from a situation where you are creating and storing a lot of internal information, you can now open up the window, so to speak, and give access to relevant information for your sales channels and customers, dealers, and so on. And of course, it takes a lot of the burden away from your customer support. So let's say now that I am interested in a certain machine, I go to my equipment, and I know that I have a couple of machines that have already been delivered. They are already working in my factory, but then I may have some that are in production. You are still producing this, manufacturing this smelter, and you can get information about the order status or production status if the delivery has to be changed or something like that. There is no serial number yet, it has not been produced, while the other ones that have been delivered has a serial number, and a lot of information is stored on that serial number in Epicor. So we can get access to the bill of material, for example, and that way we can find out which spare parts that are relevant for this machine. So let's say that now that I have a problem with a machine in Bloomingdale, so I can click on Bloomingdale and I get this shredder, and I can get some high-level information, but I can also dig into the details here of that machine. And like I mentioned before, the more information that is relevant that you can get on the same screen, the better. You should actually find what you're looking for fairly quickly with maximum one click. So on this page, you see the high level information, when it was delivered, the production date, the manufacturing location, the machine location right now. Let's say that you also introduce sensors on the machine. Potentially you could connect Internet of Things functionality into this. And for example, let's say that you're manufacturing air filters and you want to know when it's time to change an air filter. That sensor could give you information that now the pressure drop is too high over this filter, so it needs to be replaced. And potentially that could trigger an order proposal that you have to acknowledge as a customer. That type of scenarios could be implemented. But let's look at the information that we have here. First of all, we always have access to 3D information. And typically, if you sell custom machines, in many cases, you have CAD drawings of that. Also, when you have configurable items, you may have CAD drawings for that. So in many cases, the PLM system will have access to these drawings. And Roima can also provide the services to convert that into these type of visual solutions. Quickly, you can access spare parts. So these are the most common spare parts picked from the bill of material for this specific unit and the specific serial number. If you want to order that, you can just go in, you can see the availability, you see your net price. And that is also important to know that availability and net price are real-time information that you get from Epicor. So this platform actually calculates the availability based on the physical minus allocated, and also taking into account, for example, confirmed purchase orders. The net price is based on your settings in Epicor, so it doesn't require you to do anything else than keeping up with the price maintenance you normally do. And you just add it to the cart like that. Very easy. But in some cases, you may need something else than these frequently purchased ones. Then you can go into a 3D representation of that machine, and you can dig into details. For example, if you want to have something replaced in here, you can open up that and it will explode that module into its components. And you may want to go into this component, you find it here and you can order it. And if you want to know more about it, of course, you can go into the detail page for that component, and you may have as much information as you want here. So this is one way of improving the usability and the service level for your customers. It's also a very good example of how to utilize all the information you already have. So I would say that most of you already have everything you need to set this up. So it's not a big step to offer this type of functionality for your customers. If you have a CAD drawing and you have a job with the bill of material and you have pricing, for example, set on those components, then you have exactly what I just demonstrated. And then, of course, you can offer additional information related, like instructions, documents, videos, installation guides, repair guides on video, things like that. You may have a maintenance and service schedule set up. You may have warranty information. You may offer extended warranty for certain items. Sorry, I just got a message that So for example, let's say that you have warranty on your products and you keep track of that. Then you could remind your customers in this type of portal that it's now time to renew or extend the warranty and make that easy for the customer. And of course, you always have access to standard product as well. So if this is a portal where the idea is to give the user a personalized experience with relevant information only and their own equipment, you still have access to all the standard details as well, standard products as well, with net price, of course. So this is basically what we call the equipment portal. And as in every type of portal, once you have set it up, then you have a communication channel between yourself as a seller and your buyers. It may be end customers, it may be distributors, it may be dealers, and they all appreciate if you can give them this type of service level, and your internal customer service will absolutely appreciate it. So we mentioned earlier that maybe you think configurable items are difficult to sell online. Let's say that we take this example, a winch. First of all, you could select among standard winches using a filter to filter out a certain type of winch in this case, and you immediately get all the information you need. But it could also be that you would like to configure something that is not standard. So if I go in here and want to configure a winch, then I may have this type of interface where I answer a couple of questions, or maybe you want a green or maybe a white one. I want an orange. And then you make your selections and you end up with a description of the item and you have a price, and you can add that immediately to the cart as a configured item. So this is an example of what we call a kit-based configurator, but we also have rule-based configuration logic. So kit-based is a little bit easier. It's predefined combinations. And when you have products that have a finite number of combinations, then that is a very good option. But if you have more complex configuration logic, then a rule-based is needed. And we have that as well. And even in that case, we can have a 3D visualization of the selections that you make. I didn't show you the cart functionality, of course. Let's say that you want to order, and I'm just going to show you how easy that is. If you go to make it simple, you go to your saved carts. Let's say you have a typical order that you normally buy. You can create this for your customers. So let's say that you deliver your equipment and then you set up different standard orders, which is monthly maintenance kit, yearly maintenance kit, and so on, and make it easy for them to just take all of that to the cart like that. And now it's in the cart. Here it is. You go down, you do a checkout. It knows you because you're registered in Epicor. It will know your address, it will know your terms, and you can choose when to get it. Ship available as soon as possible, wait until a later date, or ship when you have a complete shipment. And cost and freight, all of this is of course picked from Epicor. So no maintenance whatsoever in this portal. Everything is maintained in Epicor, exactly the same way as you do today. And then you can pay by credit card or by invoice. Okay, I will move back to the presentation now, and I would like to discuss a little bit how is this done? How do we integrate our solutions to Epicor? And it may be a little bit technical. I'll try to keep it on a high level, but if you look at the functionality that we can provide as grouped into different applications, part of one, feed-aware WMS, Pareto, IBP, and so on, these are the names of the applications, but they are modular, as I mentioned, and you can buy individual pieces of functionality inside each of these applications. But the interesting thing here is how do we sort of seamlessly integrate with Epicor, and how do we cooperate with Epicor? Well, Epicor has a database. That database contains everything that is happening in Epicor, basically, and that's the source of truth. And if we can access that database, then we have everything we need to sort of understand what's happening in Epicor. And then when we want to update Epicor, we use the Epicor REST API to get the data into Epicor. So it's standard functionality. Epicor REST API is used in every case we update Epicor. But the good thing with Epicor database access is that we don't put any load on your production server, because we are replicating the live production database and also the test database, of course. We replicate that over to a replicated database. So when we access the data, we don't access your production database at all. So no load on that one. It's very little load on your production server, because only changes are replicated over to the replicated database. So the first setup takes a little bit time, but then only changes are updated. So no load on your production server. So the replicated database is where we read all the data, and that data is shared between the different modules or applications from Roima. And of course, different type of data is extracted for the different applications, for the different functionality. But in many cases, we use the same data. For example, part numbers or SKUs, items are the same. And that's very important that we normalize, we streamline the data so it's no redundancy. It's an item is an item, a serial number is a serial number, a customer is a customer, and so on. So we have one single source of truth, and it's the same throughout the applications. So we read the data from Epicor real time. We do our trick, for example, optimizing the warehouse, what to keep in your warehouse. Maybe we calculate the best reorder levels or economic order quantity, or maybe we work with WMS and optimize the location where you store a certain component depending on the frequency and depending on its relations to other components in the warehouse. So we do the tricks in our applications. And if you go to the right side, then when we're ready with those tricks, we push the result back to Epicor. It could be an order, it could be a quote, it could be a picking list, it could be forecast, anything. The output from our applications are immediately pushed into Epicor through the API, and you can make use of that inside Epicor. So this way we extract what we need, do our trick, and push back the result. And that way we improve the functionality, and we can also give you a better user interface. In the cases where you don't think that Epicor is perfect for your business or for your operations. So I think this is a simple and hopefully understandable description of how the integration is done. So, and I can also mention for you that for on-prem installations or for, let's say, private cloud, this is absolutely the way we set it up. The Epicor cloud, Epicor doesn't allow replication this way. Well, they allow it, but they charge for it. So you pay a license fee for the replication from the production database down to the replicated database down here. And we use that setup for Epicor Cloud. It works fine, but it's an extra license cost for that. The cost for replication in on-prem or private clouds is zero. It's a standard feature within SQL Server. So you just set it up, and typically it's about 70, 80 tables that we replicate typically.
Uwe, we have a question. From Ed, what modules do I need to be able to run these products?
You need, the part most, if you place orders, for example, Portrap 1, you need to have customers, you need to have products, you need to have prices, availability, information, orders, and invoices. So that is what we normally read from Epicor. But it's a very good question, because potentially you could replace big portions of Epicor with these applications and end up with something that runs more or less inside the Roima products. But that's not the intention here. I mean, Roima is an addition to your Epicor system, not a competition. And that's very important to remember, that we are not at all proposing that you should replace something in Epicor with this, but we want to help you fill the gaps and improve the functionality in what you already have. You have made a good decision to go for Epicor ERP, and we want to assist you with some additional functionality. Let's say that you're working like this. You're a manufacturer, then you probably have all these modules you need: customers, invoices, products, orders, all of that. So that's what we sort of expect from a manufacturing company today running Epicor.
From Dan, does the Roima PLM or Part Trap integrate with SolidWorks PDM, or is that a manual process to get the 3D models between the systems?
SolidWorks PDM is actually a competitor to 8 on PLM. So what we do, if you don't run the PDM in SolidWorks, we absolutely integrate 8 on PLM with SolidWorks. So 8 on PLM keeps track of all the CAD files that you develop with SolidWorks. All the meta information that you need to keep track on, revisions, all of that, bill of materials, everything will be handled by Aton. And the repository in Aton, keeping all those files, will be accessed from PartTrap when we build these 3D applications. So we basically take a CAD file in step format from the CAD repository, and we have tools to convert that into interactive exploded 3D models, so you can use them for interactive ordering. And you can also produce from SolidWorks SVG files, for example. That's you use Composer in SolidWorks to get SVG files out. And those SVG files could be imported into PartTrap and become interactive 2D drawings for ordering online. So you get both animation and it triggers on hovering over those links that you have embedded in that SVG file. So SolidWorks and Aton, PartTrap, Roima works perfectly together. That's a very good combination. But the question was, do we integrate to the PDM system? And the answer for that one is PDM is another way of handling and storing the CAD files, just like Aton PLM.
Thank you.
Let's go into the final slide where I'll try to summarize this. It's a lot of information in short time, maybe a lot of text, but as I said, you have this in PDF format, and you can read it and you can digest it, and you can also view this webinar session again, of course, online. But if we talk about what was the intention with this session, it was to show you that you have invested in a great ERP system, Epicor ERP, but over time you may discover some gaps, or maybe it doesn't do exactly what you want. And if you find these gaps and they are disturbing for you, then Roima is here to assist you with additional functionality, which is best of breed. It means that we pick the best possible functionality, user interface. We make it possible to use that in between other Epicor features, or as a complement, or streamlined into Epicor, but external. We integrate directly real time to the data in Epicor through that replication I talked about. And we push data into Epicor immediately, instantly, when we are ready through the Epicor API. So that loop is working extremely well. We've done that for 15 years now, and it's really fine. And the Epicor API is really good. If we look at the different topics we've talked about, improved forecasting and inventory management, that will absolutely improve your bottom line. Enhanced product data, we talked about PLM, we talked about PartTrap, which has a PIM system, product information management system, embedded. To streamline the data through the entire flow, through all your steps from birth to end of life of the product is really important. Keep that data structured, updated, normalized, ready to use by any application. And that's the way we do it with Roima. We read that data and we treat it the same way. As I mentioned, an item is an item, a serial number is a serial number. throughout the different applications. And once you have the data ready, not only product data, like it says here, but also business data. Don't forget the business data. Your customers are, in many cases, very interested in real-time business data, delivery information, order tracking, invoice status, prices, availability, all of that business data that they need to make a purchase decision. That is important to have in place and keep that updated. Streamlined operations and quality control, everything you need to improve your production, manufacturing is something we can absolutely provide. This is something, if you're interested in that, we shall put you in contact with one of the experts on the MES and MOM functionality. Customer self-service, we talked about portals. You have seen a portal, an example, and that is only one example of how you could use a Roima portal to interact with your sales channels or your partners. And one thing that I didn't mention so much during the demonstration was that internal users can also use the portal. And in many cases, internal users, even your customer service, can make use of that type of portal, because when you get somebody on the phone, you can go into the portal and you can become that customer as a support person. You become that customer and suddenly you see everything from that customer's perspective. You see their pricing, you see their orders, their invoices, any back orders, any delayed payments, anything like that. You have that at your fingertips, everything available with one click. So I would say that we talk about open up to external users and give them everything they need. You have exactly the same need internally with your sales staff and your customer service staff. They can also use this. And that's something to think about. And flexible and scalable warehousing. Yeah, you all know when you have grown, you've built a new warehouse, you have opened up your yard for outdoor storage. You need something that can support that. And also when you buy new warehouse automation systems, you probably need integration, and that is something that we also shine with. If you don't have any other questions right now, you may have later on, and then you have these contact details. I am Ove Tenberg, President for Roima US. I used to work in PartTrap with B2B e-commerce sites, so product data, PIM systems, online portals is my expertise, and also Epicor, after working with Epicor for more than 15 years. Chris Robinson is the Director of Strategic Partnerships in the US, based on the East Coast. Any of us, you can contact us through our email addresses, or you can go into Roima, which stands for roimaintelligence.com. And I can mention that the idea behind Roima is that we should provide return on investment for you. And investment in a Roima solution should always pay off. And ROI in Roima actually stands for return on investment, and MA stands for manufacturing advantage. So this is spot on when it comes to your operations and your intentions to actually make money on the solutions. So with that, I thank you for participating, and we are available at any time if you have any questions. And please, if you found any interesting topics or features that I talked about, please get in contact with us. Or maybe you have your own ideas and want to have some solution for that. So thank you all for joining.
Thank you very much, Ove, for taking the time. I know it's getting kind of late for you over there.